Hey guys, yeah, it's about 9 o'clock. I got about 30 minutes before I have to clock in. So I thought I'd come on here and give you my thoughts on the upcoming WWE Super Show this Saturday, which is going to air live where I'm at 2 a.m. in the morning because it's in Sydney, Australia. So it's going to air at 2 a.m. live here, 5 a.m. Eastern Time on the East Coast. So let's take a look at this card, for example. I know not a lot of people are looking forward to it. I know Deluxe Man will watch it. I know OTR Essential may watch it. But a lot of people are basically looking at Super Showdown. That's what it's called, the Super Showdown. It's nothing more than a glorified WrestleMania caliber house show. I mean, yeah, they got the Melbourne Cricket Grounds as the venue. But honestly, what's going to happen there? I mean, a lot of people are pretty much saying that you're not going to really have any title changes whatsoever. Unless they do treat this like an actual pay-per-view event, then maybe you might get a title change here and there. But overall, it's like, it just feels, according to a lot of people, it just feels like a glorified WrestleMania caliber house show. That's all it is. The only thing is they're going to be performing on the cricket grounds in Melbourne, Australia. But let's just take a look at this event. Let's take a look at the card. First of all, the match I think that may open the show is going to be the Cruiserweight Championship. Get the fans off their feet kind of deal. And that's Buddy Murphy against Cedric Alexander. A lot of people are hoping that WWE does the Australian members of the roster, of the overall roster, a solid and lets them go over. And I hope that happens too. Because I look at someone like Buddy Murphy, and I look at someone that I could really see as being a Cruiserweight champion that kind of falls in the category that Matt Hardy did. You see, when Matt Hardy was a Cruiserweight champion, he always had to make sure he made weight, or else he'd either be stripped of the title and it'd become vacated. So he always had to make sure he made weight. And you can see the same here with Buddy Murphy. He's always making sure that he makes that 205 weight limit. So I look at it this way. If I'm WWE, then I go with Buddy Murphy. You could always put the belt back on Cedric Alexander at Survivor Series or at the next 205 broadcast. You could always do that. But give the hometown guy, a win here. Let him be the champion, and then, even if it's a month's worth, or maybe a week or two's worth, have him play up the fact that he cheated his way to a championship, that he always, when they would weigh him, he would quickly take his one foot off the scale to make it look like he made weight, or something like that. Have him deceive him. And if you're going to have Drake Maverick, Rockstar Spud, be somewhat of a heel now, why not have him do the heel thing as the GM of 205 as well, and have him support Buddy Murphy's treachery, and even say he's inspired and respects it. It makes Cedric's journey to get the belt back, or even Mustafa Ali's journey to get the belt off of Buddy Murphy's, or off Buddy Murphy, even more meaningful. So, I think Buddy Murphy should go over. If they have Cedric go over, then Cedric's obviously losing it to either Ali or he's losing it to Leo Rush. That's pretty much what I could see. That's pretty much what I could tell. Now, sorry, there's a couple of cars going by. But yeah, I would go with Buddy Murphy on that. Now, another match that's been signed is a 6-woman tag team match. Ronda Rousey, the Raw Women's Champion, teaming with the Bella Twins against the Riot Squad. And quite honestly, yes, I do see the Bellas and Ronda winning. But if anything newsworthy was to happen off this event, this would be what make... Hold on. This is what would be the new... Probably the only newsworthy thing, unless they do some championship changes. This would probably be one of the major newsworthy things, besides, let's say, Buddy Murphy becoming champion and other things I'll mention in a moment. And that is, yes, you have Bella and Ronda go over, but then as they're celebrating, and let's say Brie leaves the ring and Nikki stays in there with Ronda, you could have Nikki, as soon as Ronda turns her back, attack her. And thus you could set up the angle going into Evolution. And you could even make it look like, if you want to, Brie having no idea of what Nikki's intentions were. Again, it would be kind of newsworthy, but at least it would also be a good setup for the event, for the Evolution event, if you want to start it up at a show like Super Showdown. So I predict the Bellas and Ronda to win, and I predict Nikki Bella, as soon as her sister leaves the ring, to turn on Ronda Rousey. That's what I predict could happen, and I think WWE may go that way. Now, speaking of 6-person tags, we have the Shield against the Pack. Reigns, Ambrose, and Rollins against Strowman, Ziggler, and McIntyre. Solid Monster said that probably the best direction they should go in with this is to have Strowman pin Reigns, because it gives Strowman momentum going into Crown Jewel the following month in Saudi Arabia. So I do agree with that, and I agree it should be clean in the middle of the ring to show that, hey, this is what so that from a story perspective, you could have Braun Strowman basically show off that this lies in Roman and Brock's future come Saudi Arabia. You could have that happen. So I'm going to go, as much as I like the Shield, I think I'm going to go with the Pack, because you might have an Ambrose heel turn happen, you may not, I don't know. That could be a deciding factor as well. But any which way you look at it, I'm going with the Pack to get the victory this Saturday in Australia. Now, another match that's on the radar, is for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. And that is New Day against The Bar. I think this will be a great match between the two teams. They've proven to do such in the past. And I predict the New Day to retain. If they have The Bar win, that's great. But I think what we saw at NXT this past week, with Cesaro showing up and helping Cassius Ohno, I think that was done for a reason. It wasn't done to kind of give the fans a treat, a surprise. It was done for a reason. It was done because if you're going to continue The Bar against the New Day, you got to give The Bar an even playing field to play on. You know what I'm saying? And what better way to do that than to bring in Cassius Ohno as the third member of their group? I'm just saying. So I predict the New Day to win, and as a result of this, I expect The Bar to recruit Cassius Ohno into the group and make it a 3-man group as well. Now, SmackDown Women's Championship. Becky Lynch, Charlotte. I think this might be one of the matches of the night, but I don't think Becky's going to lose. I think Becky's going to retain, and they're going to probably save the title change for Evolution if they do it. Now, if they do the title change here, then what a lot of fans are fearing could potentially become a reality, and that is hot potato game being played with the SmackDown Women's Championship. And fans don't want that, so hopefully that's not what occurs here, and Becky holds on to the championship for at least 23 more days. Then she'll probably drop it to Charlotte at Evolution, and then regain it at Survivor Series, and then retain it come maybe TLC in a TLC match, which I think makes sense for those two, and then that would be the end of that. So I don't see Becky losing to Charlotte in Melbourne, Australia. I see her beating her, and I see her beating her clean in the middle of the ring, just like she did at Hell in the Cell. Okay, speaking of championship matches, we have AJ Styles against Samoa Joe, no DQ, no countout. A lot of people are hoping Samoa Joe benefits from this and walks out with the championship, and he could. It would make sense. But then again, you know, it's kind of up in the air. You know, we all thought Joe would get it at Hell in the Cell. We all thought Joe would get it at SummerSlam. Never happened. Some are saying third time's the charm, and it is, if that's the case. But I don't know. It's a toss-up to me. If they want to go with Joe, then they're pretty much already giving away who's going to win the number one contenders match. And that itself may give away what happens here as well. So to me, it's a toss-up. I don't know who they'd go with. If they go with Joe, then you know Bryan's getting the number one contendership, or the number one contender slot. If they go with AJ, then you know Miz is. And speaking of that match, that's the next match I want to talk about, because it too is up in the air. Because both guys, you know, despite how you feel about Bryan and him losing to the Miz a lot, you got to remember, when he agreed to that contract to re-sign with WWE, he agreed to let go of some creative control over his character, or over what happens. So him losing to the Miz isn't, oh, well, WWE's burying him. No, it's what he agreed to. He agreed to allow this to happen when he resigned. But WWE does see the value in Daniel, and they know they got something here with him. So again, though, this match between him and the Miz, even though it'll be a good match, it's still, it's like AJ and Joe. They're toss-ups. You don't know what direction WWE would go in either way until one match is done. So let's say this match comes on before the WWE Championship and Daniel goes over the Miz, then a lot of you are going to probably say, and it might be justifiably so, that Joe's going to win. But if Miz goes over Daniel, then you'll be easy for me to say, but most of you will be justifiably saying that AJ's going to win, and it would make sense. Either way, these two matches are tossed in the air, and we probably won't know the result of one match, or at least get an idea or have a more accurate guess as to who will win one of these matches until one of the other matches is over. And that's about it. Like I said, you know, and you know, that's about it. You know, we won't really know, you know, the result of one until another is over. That's about it. So, and then we have the main event. Basically, the match that's going to close out the show. It's Triple H against The Undertaker. Triple H having Shawn Michaels in his corner, Undertaker with Kane in his corner. This, to me, is probably the only match, and I know Deluxe Man may not like hearing this, but this is the only match I think a lot of people are going to really care about seeing, especially us older fans, because despite how you feel about it, fans want to see these guys back in the ring. They want to see them compete again, because right now, despite WWE having such stars like an AJ, a Reigns, a Joe, an Ambrose, a Rollins, a Strowman, a McIntyre, you name it, you know, a Ronda, a Charlotte, fans would rather see people that remind them, that give them that nostalgic feeling of ruthless aggression and attitude. That's what they want. That's why a lot of fans are more hyped about this than anything else, because it's a reminder of what used to be and hopefully what could be in the future. But as far as who goes over, I don't know. I mean, this is supposed to lead to several matches in the future. We're supposed to get a Brothers of Destruction versus DX match, probably at Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia. And that's supposed to lead us to Shawn Michaels and Undertaker at Survivor Series in Los Angeles. So again, you know, this is another one of those, I don't know what direction they'll go in, that's going to lead us to those matches in those directions. But I'm going to say this. Despite how you might feel, even if the match is ugly, the storytelling is going to be what sells it. It's going to be what gets people behind it. Because you know what? You take a look at the last encounter at Hell in the Cell in WrestleMania, and even the year before that, and you can't tell me storytelling did not sell that match. The storytelling did not engage that fan base or that fan audience watching at home. And in Miami, what was it? What was the event? Was it in Miami, I think? I think it was in Miami. I can't remember. But you cannot tell me. Yeah, it was in Miami. You cannot tell me, okay, that audience there wasn't invested, and neither were the audience at home. And it was all because of storytelling. So despite how some people may feel about it and say, oh, it's going to be an ugly match, that might be true, but it's going to be the storytelling that sells it. So overall, those are just my general thoughts on WWE Super Showdown and how I think it may go and who I think may go over, and you know how they may go if they go one way or another when it comes to WWE Championship matches in the future on SmackDown Live. So let me know what you all think down below. I got to get ready to clock into work, I should say. It is about, I think, hold on, let me check here. It's about 9:17, so I got about 13 minutes. But let me know what you all think down below. Comment if you like, and I'll talk to y'all later.